Graph at Snow White a bit more. Snow White drops out of the box office top 5 after setting 1,210 feeders. As well here, it seems that Rachel Zegler's Snow White is raising the white flag as the Disney film has tumbled out of the top 5 as less than a month of opening. Yeah, Snow White has to be is a historic movie. Not because it's doing well, it's because it's doing so poorly that they're kicking this movie out of theaters very quickly. Okay, this movie lost over 1,000 theaters as well here. And this movie is basically performing like the Marvels. Following years of controversies of this movie, and yeah, they kept doing this movie over and over and over again until they finally said, "Hey, let's just release it." And of course, instead of listening to the fans and just changing the story to how it was in the Disney movie, the original Snow White, and of course, changing the actress to like an actual actress that fits Snow White, they decided to double and triple down on the woke ideology and wokeness. And this is what we have. We have one of the biggest flops of all time, and Snow White is now out of the top 5 movies as well, Unlike Snow White's Dragon's Drop, Minecraft always dropped 50%, making it already impressive box office one even better. Yeah, a major blockbuster dropping 50% is actually pretty good. Usually, movies that don't, and yeah, there are some major blockbusters that actually have had smaller drop, mostly holiday movies, obviously, as well, But it's very rare to see a major blockbuster not drop 50%. To drop, it's usually common to see blockbusters drop 60 to 70%. But Minecraft actually had an okay drop. It wasn't a bad one, obviously, as well And of course, it didn't drop like Top Gun did as well. Well, Top Gun had a very small drop. Mario did too. And of course, Barbie did too. And Oppenheimer did have a small drop too as well But Snow White is just a huge failure. It can go back to the numbers. And yes, it is doing worse as well. Because of course, what we do is we adjust movies for inflation, obviously, because it is kind of unfair to not really adjust it for inflation, because guess what? Snow White is still performing worse than the Marvels. Of course, if we adjust with the actuals, because of inflation, Snow White would have beat the Marvels as well But these movies are performing so similarly at the box office. Like, it's honestly kind of pathetic. Like, you're slightly outgrossing the Marvels in the US. Oh, what an accomplishment that is. Rachel Zegler. And this movie's gonna lose a lot of feeders like the Marvels did. Okay. The Marvels, very similar, also had these similar drops as well And in feeders too, the Marvels was setting feeders. And I think next week, Snow White's gonna be completely out of feeders. It's gonna be either down to like 1,000 feeders, or it's gonna be down because Marvels is not gonna be making that much more money. And I think Snow White is I think doing worse in the Marvels, and you can see But if Marvels did as a normal movie, it would have made $150 million at bare minimum as well And if it did good, it would have made, but it did so poorly as well. And you can also add in other movies as well. So Snow White, obviously, as well. Snow White. But it's also bringing a forgotten movie. Dark Phoenix, another movie that people really don't like. And is Dark Phoenix amongst them? Yeah. So Snow White at least is outperforming Dark Phoenix. It really is an accomplishment, but it is gonna outgross Dark Phoenix. But that isn't really an accomplishment, as this movie is still performing adjusting for inflation behind the Marvels as well. So this is a huge historic figure. Also add in Risk, which, oh my god, Risk didn't even make $70 million. That's awful. That's awful numbers as well. But yeah, Disney is really, really struggling. It's funny, all these movies had a similar budget too. Dark Phoenix had a similar budget. Snow White had a large budget too. And I just don't understand why Disney thought this was a good idea to release this movie. Goodbye.